This is a Fox News alert. A peace deal reached in Ukraine. On the record, monitoring these violent images all week of deadly clashes killing nearly 100 people just this week. Anti-government opposition finally agreeing to peace, and it's opening the way for an early election in Ukraine. Plus, Russian President Putin swooping in and taking much of the credit. Meanwhile, the United States remains pretty much invisible. So is President Obama making the U.S. irrelevant around the world? Joining us is former UN spokesperson Ric Grenell. Rick, the President Putin and President Obama spoke today, but for the most part, we didn't hear much from President Obama on this. He wasn't a big player in this whole thing.
Yeah, you know, I think ever since we started, Hillary Clinton started with the Russian reset button, we've really moved this relationship between Russia and the United States to a completely different paradigm. And I don't think it's been a good one. Now, not only has it failed, but I think it's made things worse. You see Russia really beginning to flex its muscle on a lot of different things, and Obama, conversely, kind of backing away, whether it's Syria or missile defense, or remember when he got caught on camera talking about, hey, I can be more flexible after the election. That was about missile defense. And then we saw later him really cave on Eastern Europe's missile defense.
I was trying to think whether, you know, lots of times a lot of diplomatic conversations go on in the background that we never hear about, and for, you know, there are tactical reasons why you might want to take a smaller role to give someone else a bigger, you know, bigger part in, so someone can take a bow for whatever reason. But it's not just Ukraine. It's with Syria and Iran. It seems like even Syria, I mean, it seems that President Putin is taking a very powerful role in it, and sort of, you know, we're getting our nose bloodied a little bit, and it's getting to be a bigger mess there.
It is, and I think one of the problems that we have with the Obama administration is that they want to embrace this idea that, well, Americans are war-weary, and so we're just not going to get involved in any of these conflicts. And I think that's a real strategy failure, because just by jumping in and saying we're not going to get into any, that's a political statement. To not get involved at all and to say whatever happens, we're war-weary, that is just as political as saying let's jump in on everything.
But we could very well be war-weary, and I think that's probably true. But on the other hand, if we don't have sort of the, you know, international political muscle or the moral authority, we can't influence others just by diplomacy. And that I see, you know, as a problem. Even, you know, if we are no longer the superpower everybody looks up to, it's sort of hard for us to tell people to stop fighting because they don't care what we have to say.
Well, that moral problem is really what happened, you know, years ago when we decided to not get involved in Iran, for instance, when there was the Green Revolution and protesters were taken to the street. We should be able to win this argument when we go up against, you know, communism or other crazy ideas of governing. We should be able to stand up and say, look, democracy, liberty, human rights, this is an easy win for us, but you got to be there talking about these issues and pushing forward your idea in order to win.
Well, President Putin seems to be taking the bow here, and they played a much bigger role. And of course, it was so embarrassing when the Secretary of Defense couldn't get a call returned from the defense minister in Ukraine. Apparently, they have now spoken. But what's sort of interesting is that you know, publicly it looks like, you know, that Putin did it all. But if you look at what happened on the ground, is that Putin's guy, the president, actually president of Ukraine, comes out on with the short end of the stick. It's actually the opposition who did much better as this shakes out.
But I also think that Putin did do a lot. He clearly is in control. He's been pushing back.
Even as the opposition emerges and his president of Ukraine gets weakened?
I think the fact that he's willing to push back and to say to the people, we're not going to allow Ukraine to go all the way into the European Western ideas, yeah, this is him playing offense. Before this reset, we saw Russia playing defense all of the time. They're on the offense now, and I think that's the danger.
And why did that happen?
Because again, I think you go back to the philosophy of the Obama administration is that Americans are war-weary, so we're not going to get involved in conflicts. But the danger there is you define conflicts as, well, boots on the ground or nothing, and there's so much more to do in between. You can actually have muscle. If you believe in a non-war philosophy, then you better have diplomacy with a real bite, and we don't have diplomacy at all.
What do you think President Putin's thinking tonight?
I think he's thinking, you know, I got another win. And don't forget as well the UN resolution, the humanitarian push into Syria. The Russians are in control there. They're going to push it off.
Indeed, and you know, it's looking pretty grim. Anyway, nice to see you. Thank you.